So I finished this NZXT H9 Flow build about 2 weeks ago, and I was looking at it today and I was like, you know what? Something's missing. We recently did the vertical GPU mount and it looks awesome, but something's just not right. And then it hit me. I know what I have to do. We gotta install a monitor inside of the case. Let's do it. What's up everybody, it is Dan Cam, and I'm back with another video. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey Dan, how the heck are you gonna fit this monitor inside of this PC case? Well, you weren't listening. I said we're gonna be putting a monitor into the case. Not this one, but this little guy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into it.
Bruh.
All right, so let's look at the monitor that I'm going to be using and how it's going to be connected to the PC. So this is just a generic 7-inch monitor from Amazon, and I'll go ahead and leave it in this position for a second, throw up some dimensions. And I know this monitor fits perfectly in an H9 Flow from NZXT and a height Y60 because I originally used it for the height Y60 and it fit really good, but it actually fits even better in the NZXT H9 Flow. So it's just some generic Amazon monitor, and I'll go ahead and leave it linked down below if you want to check it out. But the way we're going to connect this to the PC is the same way you'd connect any monitor to a PC. So first of all, it's going to need power. So we do have a dedicated power plug. This monitor did not come with it. I think you need to order it separately, but we do not want to use this because we would have to use like a wall outlet to power it, and that would be extremely annoying to set up. So we're going to use this micro USB port. So with a micro USB cable, we're going to plug this directly into our motherboard, and our motherboard's going to power it. So it's going to be super easy. And this does have a dedicated headphone jack if you wanted to use this like as a standalone monitor for something. We're not going to be using that, obviously. And then how we're going to get picture out of it is through these mini HDMI ports. So we've got 2 mini HDMIs, and we're going to do mini HDMI to regular HDMI, and that's going to plug into the graphics card. So as far as the cables that we're going to use, I got them off to the side here. So we've got our mini HDMI to regular HDMI. So this is going to go into the monitor, and then this is going to go into the graphics card. And that's how we're going to get our signal to this monitor. And then as far as length, I know this is 1.8 feet. And I know this fits perfectly for a H9 Flow case on how I'm going to install it. So just keep that in mind. And then the next cable we're going to need is a micro USB to USB type A. So this side is going to be plugged into our motherboard to power it, and this side is going to be plugged into the monitor. So if we kind of mocked it up right here, we can go ahead and plug that side in, and then we plug the HDMI side in, and then now we're ready to go. So let's get the computer on the bench and get this thing mocked up and installed. All right, so I've got the monitor mocked up how I originally wanted to do it, but you can see it's kind of awkward with the connections at the bottom, and there's no real pass through right here. So you can see it kind of puts an awkward bend, and there's also this awkward gap. And also the monitor sits really high. So the radiator and the fan are actually blocking a little bit of the view of it, especially if you're looking at it from this angle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna flip this monitor around, and the connections are gonna be on top, and we're gonna see how that looks and how I'm gonna route these cables to the back of the PC. So let's do that right now. All right, so we've got the monitor flipped around, and it fits absolutely perfect in this little cavity. That's supposed to be for a 120mm fan, but looks like it was made for this monitor. And we've got the connections coming out of the top, and then the cables themselves are being fed through this little channel that I've created right here next to the monitor. So they're not gonna be visible. Then they come out down here, and they're actually gonna be fed through these two little holes right here, and those are your PCIe slot covers. So when you install your graphics card on a new case, you have to remove those covers to install a GPU. So you might have to remove one more if you're still horizontally mounted, but for my vertical mount, they just fit right through there. Then it's going to be plugged into a USB-A port back here on my motherboard. And then the bottom one on my GPU is a HDMI port. So this is going to be super easy, and it's actually going to look a lot better than I originally thought. I wanted the cables facing downward, but the way this case is designed, excuse me, I just don't think that's going to be possible. And the way we're gonna install this monitor, I know a lot of you guys are shaking your head right now, but this is double-sided tape, but guys, this stuff is so unbelievably strong. I use this on my Y60, and I had that monitor in there for like, I think about 5 months, and it was very difficult to remove the monitor once I actually did remove it. So this tape did a great job, and I'm actually gonna use less than I did last time, probably just one little strip on the back. So let's get this thing connected and then fire it up and see how it looks. Okay, so the monitor is installed, but we had a slight change of plans, so everything's still the same. The only thing I did different was you can see that I am now using this hole right here, and the cables are coming downward, because before it was actually crossing over this little hole in the case, and I didn't really like how it looked, so instead I routed it all the way down. I use a little piece of double-sided tape right here to keep them cable managed and nice. And you can see that nice little bend down there going through the case down there. And then same thing, USB-A, and then my HDMI port. So let's get the PC powered on, and let's see how this bad boy looks. Okay, so the PC booted up fine, and guys, the monitor looks so good in there. And then I have the case side panel on, so you may see some reflections, so sorry about that. But you cannot see the cables at all coming from the top and then being routed through the side right here of the case. And then you could barely see the little loop down there going towards the back of the PC. So super clean. I'm happy that with the side panel on, the cables are completely hidden. And even the top ones, it's so dark in there that I can barely see them. So I'm happy with how it looks. But as you can see, the orientation for the little monitor is incorrect and the taskbar is showing, so I want to get rid of that. So coming over to our taskbar settings, we're going to scroll down, then we're going to see show taskbar on all displays, and we're going to click off. So that is now not showing, which looks much better, but we've got to change the orientation of the monitor. So let's go into our display settings. Then you can see it's just another monitor, but we need to flip this to be vertical. And then so this one is selected. Then scroll down, and then you're going to see display orientation, and we're going to change it to portrait, and then keep changes. Then I'm going to exit out of here. Then as you can see, the orientation is correct, and it looks really, really good. And then just in case you're wondering, the bottom monitor is actually a reflection of the top. This is a wallpaper engine wallpaper, so it actually is moving. You can see the bottom is a reflection of the top, and it looks really good in person, but on camera it might not look that good. But the monitor is set up and looks great. But let me show you what you can use a monitor inside your PC for. So there are a ton of different uses for this little monitor, guys. It just looks so cool in here and you don't see it too often. It is kind of catching on lately, but my favorite way to use this is for all of your vitals. I did a full video on this. It would take way too long to explain this, but this is ADA64, and I made this custom sensor panel that shows my CPU info on the top left, my GPU info on the top right. This is an FPS graph, and in game that FPS will display properly, but at the desktop it shows 0. Then here's like how much memory I'm using and my AIO pump speed and some of my hard drive information, and this is probably what I'll keep it on. And then overall, this is how everything looks. So super cool, I love it. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions or concerns, please comment down below. But that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.